o'clock, the meeting will come to order. We have a quorum present. Let's see, I don't think we need to introduce ourselves to anybody, do we? Okay, let's get to that. Let's have another solemn meditation, please. Thank you. I apologize for my voice. It's worse than usual. I'm more grass every chance I'm getting. I can figure out what you got. There's no public comment. So we'll move straight to the approval of the agenda. Let's look at the agenda. So I'll approve it.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the agenda be approved. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed. Okay. And the next item is the approval of the minutes of the last meeting. Is there any discussion?
I just saw that I saw that I had one.
Any comments about the minutes? Okay, we're all satisfied with the minutes and we're motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
If the move is seconded, do we approve the minutes? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? No opposed, the minutes are approved. Oh, Josephine Lay is not here. Have you heard from her?
I sent her notice, reminder.
Okay.
Should I call it?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'll go ahead with myself. Next item on the agenda is the report from the Personnel Committee. And the Personnel Committee Chairman is not here. I guess I'll do that. Personnel Committee met on May 13th at 4 p.m. at Atkins. Josephine Wade, Dottie Bell, Shannon Dixon, I were there. Call meeting to order, 4:55. Here's the agenda. And we discuss the proposed revision of the Equal Opportunity and Anti-Harassment Policy.
You're down now. She's down now. No, that's Wednesday. Okay.
She's downtown.
She thought it was downtown.
Oops. Okay, anyway, the Personnel Committee reviewed the proposed revision of the Equal Opportunity Statement and the Anti-Harassment and Anti-Retaliation Policy. The Equal Opportunity Statement is rewritten to clarify the protected characteristics, what individuals should do if they have questions or concerns, and the consequences for engaging in unlawful discrimination, harassment, or retaliation. The anti-harassment policy has been renamed the anti-harassment and anti-retaliation policy. Policy will be rewritten to clarify the protected characteristics and outline supervisory responsibilities. Where the conduct been redefined in a more streamlined way to avoid repetition that was in the old policy, so that prohibited verbal and non-verbal behavior applies to all areas area of sexual harassment is spelled out more fully, including examples, and the complaint procedure has been expanded as well. So do y'all want to look at that policy? You got a chance to read through it, you have any comments about it? Ms.
I
Moore?
have one comment. I just thought it might be helpful under the nonverbal section. Looked at last sentence in the nonverbal. It says this includes calendars, clothing, music, cartoons, photographs, magazines, newspapers, drawings, posters, email, and text messages. I thought it may also be helpful to include if it uses social media, because that's also a nonverbal way that harassment also occurs.
Okay, what page is that? Page numbers at the bottom.
It's right under the nonverbal, under the anti-harassment.
Is there a page number at the bottom?
There's no page number.
It was in the packet I sent out. I sent this out before the meeting, and then I sent another one out.
If you look at the anti-harassment and anti-retaliation policy, she's referring to the paragraph under nonverbal. Mine's not numbered either.
I didn't resend it.
Oh, okay. So this went out to the personnel committee on May 4th. And if you look at, we've got the cover memo and then the proposed revision of policies page, equal employment opportunity statements at the top.
Here, yours. So this is.
It's not numbered because I didn't resend it. It was no corrections to it. So it was already out there.
There's a nonverbal section there on the first page, and then if you also go to number 2, the nonverbal, I just thought it would be very beneficial to add the social media on the first page under nonverbal and also under number 2. Because under number 2 on the second page, it also says the use, distribution, display, a discussion of any written or graphic material, including calendars, posters, cartoons, clothing, music, photographs, magazines, newspapers, drawings, email, and text messages. And I also thought if you added with the use of social media as well in that category.
We'll put that forward in motion.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we move that we add basically use words in use of social media to the nonverbal and to the actually nonverbal on the first page and nonverbal on the second page. Everybody follow that?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, we move the second, did we add that? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Very good. Yes, Kevin.
Mr. President, I'd like to add that in the meeting, we did discuss that this policy, there would be training provided to staff on this policy and the particulars, because, we discussed that there could be a lot of issues around this, and so I'm not certain that I need to or that I really want to put that in form of motion, but I just want that to be part of the discussion, that staff will receive training on the changes in the policy.
Okay, thank you.
I like that.
And that is standard procedure in HR, anytime we do a change to a policy like that.
And I think I read something about, because some libraries might interpret some things differently than others, so I think it's absolutely necessary.
There's extensive training given during employee orientation, and then once a year, all employees receive training on anti-harassment and anti-retaliation.
I just want to be clear that I'm not trying to creep into telling, staff how to do their job. I just wanted to be sure that we as a board, have at least said that they'll be trained, because, that's not what I'm here for.
Okay, but that's a given, but it will happen.
So I have a question.
Yes.
That motion, is it also to approve that as,
You want to add that to your motion?
were you proposing to approve the whole policy with that change?
Well, I was just suggesting that be added in
Need
there.
another motion.
Then you need another motion.
Well, somebody make a motion to approve the policy as corrected.
I move that we accept the anti-harassment policy with corrections.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded that we accept the proposed policy with the addition that we just approved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
That's a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know this is after the fact. But did you say that the training differences, or was that something else? that was-
Something else.
Something else there, okay.
Let's see, what was it? Balance. Okay, that was the, so that was the anti-harassment policy, right? Okay, kind of get out of order here. Proposed behavior policy.
So let me ask you this, for Christmas, and I know, I don't think it ever came up, but it would not be necessary to have the attorney look at this.
I'm sorry.
It would not be necessary to have the attorney look at this at the anti-harassment.
The attorney did,
I think,
the attorney reviewed it before it went to the.
Okay, that's what I was asking at first, is this one of the things that we asked, if the attorney to review, and I thought he said, but this was, okay, let's good, we're good.
The attorney basically reviews all this personnel stuff,
Okay.
proposed or changed. Okay, we look at proposed behavior policy. I think that's actually the first. This behavior policy. Minutes here. The proposed behavior policy is basically just cleaning up of the wording of the current policy, correct?
And the attorney read over it and recommended some changes, and those changes have been,
We changed our marking there, so
what?
if you haven't got the proposed
Did you
behavior,
send me, you said online, okay. Did we get that?
The behavior policy?
The changes.
Is the change?
they're red.
And the red.
Page 12.
That's a fact. When you send that package out, I probably got it. You have the extra ones with you? It's a lot. I don't know where, I got some stuff in this search. Thank you. Girl, I owe you lunch on this one. I will take you to lunch. Okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay.
Okay, just to briefly cover these are the ones on page 12. Third paragraph, the word 4 is changed to 3. The word 6 is changed to 5th. next page, number 11, and drinking is added, and drinking. On page 11,
Is it 11 on that page?
It's 13 on the,
I'm sorry, 13, excuse me, I think page 13 is item 11, eating and drinking, or drink and drinking is added. Next page 14, and item 3, clarify when to shred the actual plus is added to 5 years. So the current year plus 5 years.
Wait, I'm sorry, are we on the detention policy?
Behavior policy procedure, 14.
Shannon, this. And under expulsion procedure, at the bottom of page 14, it has, clarifies that individuals that are being expelled from that particular branch. And on page 15, on the second paragraph under the bottom procedure, the word "for" has been changed to "3." After one has been given, plus a total of 3 expulsions. A fifth violation will result in immediate indefinite warning. So any questions about those?
Let's go to page 12.
Correct?
When you said, I'm looking at the fact that after the first violation, 1, any further violation up to 3 will result in expulsion, okay? And then violation of library rules for the 5th time. Now, when can they come back? That is, you say you're burying them from the library, all 3 more libraries, so they will never be able to come back, or do we have time on that? Did they say that somewhere?
no, it's indefinite until, but they can apply for reinstatement.
But is that here?
It's in here, but not.
Not right, because that's what I'm saying, quickly I picked up on that, but then I'm wondering if it ever they be able to come back, like we should say in parentheses, you know,
It's under, there's a section under.
that is under, but who won't have time to go, you know, just like I'm looking at it real quick. I'm just saying, the public, but like I say, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, what I'm saying, I would like to see that you are barred from the library, and then when can you come back, say something parentheses, you see what I'm saying, and that parentheses part need to be, the part that you said, where is it? That you said, the last page, that say what? The reinstatement will be reviewed by the library reinstatement committee. So what I'm saying, after the 5th time, maybe in a year's time or 2 years, we will
No, they can apply for reinstatement the same day or the next day. It will be up to the committee.
but do they say that the committee?
No, but they will, there's a document that the person receives that has it.
Oh, you will, okay, this is what you're saying, this is what's happening, but when you bury him, you're going to immediately give him
There's a
that
document, and it's explained in that document that they can apply for.
I guess I'm too much of an elementary teacher. I just like for things to be in lay terms and say, I'm barred from the library, but you tell I come back tomorrow, next day,
You can apply
something.
for reinstatement.
Statement, but that needs to be something that the committee, either see page, even if, let's say, see page 14, or see explanation, and parentheses, see explanation on that policy on, so I'm just saying, you need to
Why?
show me why, yes, see what,
But why?
huh?
But why?
What you mean why?
I mean, I'm just engaging in some intellectual dialogue. Why, if there's a section on the last page that talks
But
about.
how would I know to go to that last page?
You have to read.
Even put a parenthesis, say, see page, reason why, I still say, I'm just one of these people, that's lay people saying, okay, I'm barred from the library. Will I ever be able to come back? I would just, as a board member, like to say, yes, but do I have to, well, tell me, if you want to say this, but you have to rule that, okay, see page this, or explanation on page this. Y'all see where I'm coming from? And parentheses, it's on the reinstatement card.
You just don't like it, it's on the last page, the reinstatement.
Yeah, because I don't think you have time, plus, it's not that I'm there, it's just, you need to show me. Okay, see, board, okay, look here, it's under the part that say board procedure. So why can't I say, time was on the immediate bar from the treatment library, see explanation and parentheses on under board procedures. It's just showing you where to go to see if there's possibility for them to come back or something.
Would it be helpful if you left the policy as it is, but at the beginning have it listed out, purpose, overview, and then reinstate it all at the top so they know how it's gonna flow, kind of like an agenda?
Some kind of way, you need to let them, whatever, you need to let them know. Because I probably had time to read this. Okay, I'm going from the library, okay, that's it, I'm gone. But I'm gonna look and see if you got something for me to go to. Okay, I'm going right there, but give me my reasons. Where I need to go, do I need to flip 50 pages again?
No, because it's gonna be, they receive a document when they're.
They receive it, but I would like to say something. Somebody called me as a board member. I've been barred from the library, Ms. Bell. But, you see what I'm saying? And I need to say, well, we have the policy here. I don't want to be dumb when they call me, oh, I need to call, I'll call you back. I don't like that. I like to be able to say I can do this, get it. I guess I'm too deaf.
I guess it's incumbent upon us to read, you gotta read the whole policy. So it's incumbent upon us to know that the appeal process is gonna get, and I'm thinking about this as a lawyer, because here's the rule. Okay, my immediate thing is let's go to the back and see what the remedy is, what's the due process. I guess that's how I think about it.
Well, how did you know to go to the back?
Because that's just what.
But how did you know to go to the back?
Because that's what.
You're a lawyer.
No, that's the way policies are written.
But how do you know to go to the back?
Because that's how.
That common phrase
are usually written. And I guess this is just a fine point.
Yeah, okay.
The person that's gonna get barred from the library, if you desperately want to come back to the library, you're gonna read it. And then y'all give a document, right? Okay, so I guess I'm about freedom of access to the library because the library is for everybody. But I also have stood on the other side of the desk, and I know that by the time you bar somebody from the library, like they really need to go. But I guess if that's your stance, I'll support you on it, but I just don't want us to get into having to rewrite our format of policies, because this will be clear to me, it goes to the back. But again, I defer to you because this is your opinion, and you and I are engaging in intellectual dialogue as two teachers do.
Yeah, the thing I'm saying is, as a board member, I get these calls about the student handbook. I don't know about the student handbook. First time a child get 2 or 3 times suspended, mama calling Ms. Bell, you the board member. They say in this, they read, and then sometimes they don't read. I said, no, go back to this, and because I already know what's going on, and I can tell them. But they quick to say that. I just wanted, in 2 or 3 words, see, board, library. I'm just saying that, that's just me.
George, you have a comment?
Yeah, I'm just going to say that in order to address what you want to address, Ms. Bell, it could be a simple procedure as at the beginning, just putting an outline, purpose, like you said, purpose overview, just a brief outline of what's contained herein, and then you immediately see that at the end of this there is a way that you can reinstate.
I understand what you're saying.
What do you think about that?
That's fine. What she said, that was,
I was just going to simply say also, no, any of you, if you get calls from people concerned about barring, you can refer them to Deoncy, who chairs the reinstatement committee, and she'll be glad to.
But they kind of want you to know something. But you're on the library, but you don't know what to do. I'm just saying that. But I know you call. But I'm just talking about the everyday citizen.
We could add a cover page with a table of contents.
That'd be fine. That'd be great.
Could do what?
This goes into
Cover
our
page
policy
with a table of contents.
I go to the menu.
Of course, if you do that for this policy, you'll do it for all the policies.
What about?
That was my point. I don't want to change it when we rewrite. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to change it. I don't want to put any more burden on staff to have to rewrite something when it just is our job to read the policy. And if somebody calls me and says, I've been barred from the library, my first thought is, why are you calling me? Because you need to deal with that as staff. Let me look at the policy and I'll get back with you. Because we're not required to memorize all the policies.
No. Just tell them to read the policy. You know, to say there is a policy, so, you know, if you look at the policy, you can see it'll probably answer every question that you have.
Johnson?
After the sentence that references the borrowing, could we, to cover what, like Ms. Bell is speaking of, just add in parentheses after that sentence, see reinstatement.
See page 5.
See page
That's all I say
5
or
or
something.
something for the, so did that work?
More clarification.
You don't like that?
That's what I wanted.
Exactly, where was that page? See page 5 for reinstatement procedures. Exactly. After the,
Bar.
violate the sentence that begins with violation of law regulations for the 5th time or resulting after that sentence.
And while you're changing that, I just want to make this statement of opinion, that if they have been barred from the library, personally, I want them to do all the research that they can possibly do. You know, I want to get back in badly enough to do all the research and ask all the questions they can possibly ask and do their due diligence in trying to become reinstated. We'll have to make it easy for them.
But I understand Ms. Bell.
I understand it too. I understand that too.
Has been barred from a library, they think it's unfair to have to go through a whole lot. I understand completely what you're saying.
Yeah, I understood both of you. That's why I said the outline, like you said, might do it.
Okay, are we all good with
But
that?
we're good with that.
Everybody's good with that
Yes, we
change?
need to do the same on page 4 after the second paragraph. Under borrowing procedure, after the last sentence of the second paragraph. We might need to do that too.
I'm carried on.
Okay.
Yeah, you just said put that in parentheses.
See page 5 for reinstatement.
That's it, that's the only
That's
change?
it. And on page,
And I took it.
on page 4, under borrowing procedure,
Right.
after the second paragraph. Well, I don't know, procedures for the staff, so it might not be necessary.
Okay, any other discussion about this policy?
Joey, you need to, you have to settle that for her? Okay. That's all they got.
If there's no other discussion about this policy, then we need a motion to accept the policy with the changes referring to the reinstatement policy.
That's the move that we.
Moved, seconded, okay. Got it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, okay. There's no more roll, let's go ahead and finish the personnel committee report. The final thing in the personnel committee report is the Gillum petition. You should have a copy of that. The Gillum, somewhere in the Gillum area started a petition to increase the hours of that branch. And to put the number of hours to that branch over 20, which means the 2 employees there would get benefits, they get health insurance, and I'm not sure what the other benefits are, if you go up to 20 of this, so other than health
They would
insurance.
have paid vacation
Paid
and sick leave,
vacations.
and then they'd be eligible to participate in all the medical and all of that.
Okay, so there's not, or to rephrase that, there is a cost to the library to do this. And then there's another cost in that some of the other part-time branches are also, if this succeeds, then these other part-time branches are going to also submit petitions to increase their hours to over 20 a week. So the Personnel Committee is recommending that not be approved and that a study be done at some later date, I guess after we get a new director, to determine what the actual hours of operation should be for these part-time branches. So that's Josephine, is that how you remember?
That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, any discussion about that?
I would also say to put on the record that we had a really good discussion about this in the personnel committee meeting, and I think what I know is that we're concerned about cost, but also we want to provide as much access as possible to our patrons. So the study is, from what our discussion is, just to make sure that those that are, we certainly have a cost to doing business with the library, so we also want to offer as much access as possible. So I think the study is to be able to determine how to best meet that need.
I think primarily we need to be proactive and do this in some kind of semi-scientific way rather than just responding to petitions. And I think you were next.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to comment on that too. I agree with having total access, and if every branch extended their hours, obviously you'd be able to serve more patrons, but I think you have to look at it from an economical standpoint too. Is it practical, to do for the number of additional patrons, if any, that will be served? So my first question to the staff, are we setting the precedence here about the board actually trying to make a determination based on petition, by patrons? Is that common practice? And if so, I'd like to know how they've been handled in the past, because as Neil pointed out just a second ago, there are many other branches waiting to see exactly what's going to happen here. And I think it's very important that we verify, not by petition. My question that enter my mind is, did we verify and call the people that started this petition? Was it a door-to-door petition, or how was the petition, the names gathered? What has changed in circulation and demographics? How many more people actually live in the town of Gillum now than before that would justify this change? I'm all for making the necessary changes in any branch if we can better serve our patrons. But to base it on the fact that a petition is being entertained this way, I think that for almost any issue, patrons could petition this board to either extend hours, gather different material or whatever, and if the reaction is, well, the patrons want it, we have to act on it, I think we may be setting a poor stage and precedence that we're going to have trouble living with in the future. So what I'm saying is, and I know you said you've discussed this a lot, let's make sure that the staff, I'm sure you have a policy for conducting surveys of needs in the community, and see what's actually changed that would even justify such a change, because it's going to be costly. We've already absorbed the cost now of trying to give additional funding to the small libraries. By the time you take the minuscule amount that it'll be for salaries, and you add in related benefits, and you add in vacations, and then you start adding in, and then you get 5 or 6 other branches to do that, you're going to end up talking $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 or more a year. And I just think it's something that has to be really carefully looked at. Look at the petition, check with those who did it, find out how it was organized, take a look at the demographics, see if there's been any changes that would warrant this. I just think we have to take a good look at it.
Jenny?
I will say, we were supposed to do another long-range plan last fall, and the decision was made to postpone doing that long-range plan until a new director's on board. But it was the intent that part of the long-range plan process would be a survey of the entire parish and needs of the users and when people would be most likely to use the libraries, and look at it system-wide, all branches, full-time and part-time, to see if we needed to adjust hours in all areas and keeping in mind our financial considerations that went along with that.
A survey is a perfect way for a small community to make their needs known. When we received that request from Gillum, I think she's already said that, but to put it plainly, we wanted to make sure that other small branches were not wanting the same thing. So when you start addressing an individual small branch without considering all the others, that's when it's going to get out of hand. So this is, to put it very plain, that this is all we do. We're waiting to see with that survey that they're going to do if there are other small branches whose needs are the same as Gillum's branch. I mean, that's just to put it plain. That's a perfect way to to address your needs in a small community. You
With
got a way
a
to go.
survey.
Right, a survey, a circulation, a survey, demographics and so forth.
We looked at Gillum's circulation statistics, I think, for the last 4 years. And I think they declined. I don't have the numbers with me. Right here. Okay.
Find the numbers.
Well, we looked at 2009 through 2014, and in 2012, well, in 2011, there were 6245, and then they dropped to 4669 in 2012, and then 2013, 3614, and 2014, 3506. So there's a drop on your circulation.
So basically, the circulation has gone down as well as the population of Gillum itself has gone down.
Why the question?
Shannon?
I guess I agree with what Ms. Wade is saying in that you hear what Gillum is saying because, you know, that's a way to get your voice heard. We certainly don't want to discount any issues going on with any of our branches. And so the long-range plan that you guys are going to do, you know, as a new record gets in place, is going to be part of it, because the numbers are just part of the story. You know, what is that community makeup? Are those the proper hours to be open? What other ways can we address the needs? Because as I will always say, I'm about patron access. Because we know in all of our, I mean, we have to only look at, in this community, look outside who's in the library, especially in rural communities, the library is the nucleus. So we want to make sure that we're able to provide the best services. We want to do it in a way that addresses the entire system, because there may be issues system-wide that can be fixed, you know, as you walk in the information, but you won't know that till you have all the information. So I guess I went all around the world to go next door and say, we have heard the voice of the people, and we will definitely get those addressed. So.
And that period for the system-wide survey is after the new director is in place. So maybe we should just not discuss that anymore until after the new director.
I agree.
There you go.
I move and second it.
No,
not really.
Okay, so we got the personnel committee report consistent of the behavior policy, which we looked at, the Gillum petition, which we discussed, and the revision of anti-harassment policy. So we need a motion to accept the personnel committee report.
That's a move.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded that we accept the personnel committee report. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? No opposed. Okay, motion carries.
And thank you for filling in for me.
Well, I'll just fix it, turn it over to you, I'll look around, you were here. Okay, bylaws committee report next, and Josephine's the chair of that, but you may not know what's happening there.
No, well, no,
This is going to be a
we
quick.
talked about that.
Basically, the ad hoc bylaws committee met, we made some revisions to the bylaws based on quite a bit on getting the good part of policy governance added to the bylaws. And we had a report ready to go, and the lawyer looked at it and said, nope, you got to change something. So because of that, we're going to have a report for the next meeting, next record meeting on that. So,
We just have one second.
what's that?
You said that you were trying to get the good policy.
Yes. There are some good things in policy governance.
Okay, I'm not question, okay.
And I think you see bylaws, proposed bylaws, I like it, but, we're not finished yet.
Yeah.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the proposed revision of the registration policy, and I'll turn it over to somebody else.
Okay, if you look at page 31 of the packet that you received, you will see 8 items listed, and these are the 8 items under the registration policy. We are proposing to add the information that is highlighted. Basically, in number 1, you'll see where we want to take out the registration applications will be taken and add that the registration form is available online, because patrons may now start the registration process online. So that's what number 1 is about. Then number 4 and 5, we would just like to add the word any to both of those, and I can't remember what you said before. I don't think it said any. It said a, okay, well, it was, said a patron, but we want to say any patron. And then number 7, we are just adding that they report the loss of stolen cards to the library. What did it say before, Kathy?
I think it ended right there.
Okay. And then number 8 is we're letting them know when the cards expire, because many patrons will come in and say that we know that they expire. So this will let them know that they expire every 3 years, and the temporary cards expire after 1 year, and that the renewal of the privileges must be done in person by the card holder or a legally responsible proxy.
I have a question. On number 5, it has state registered sex offenders, blah, 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 access to some branches may be limited. Under what circumstances?
There's a, if the branch is, and I don't know, also school, yeah, then they can use that library.
And it is spelled out in that
In
by
that part,
statute.
yes.
I mean, that is the law.
Okay.
So it's not a library law.
It's
It's
a
just
state-
it's a state
State
law.
is a state statute.
Yeah.
That prohibits sex offenders from being within 70 feet of a school, and subsequently, if the library is next to the school, it would not access as well.
So one more fun thing for a branch manager to enforce.
Some branches.
That's like her library,
Bring your school.
her school is right on there.
That's one part of it. I think if the children's area is a separate area of the library, they can't go in their part of the library, or they can't go in when there's a children's program in process.
But if it is a segregated area, they're allowed to come.
In the adult area,
Yeah, they're allowed to go in there.
Yeah.
And our branches do that very well, because I went into one of the branches to look for some children's books, and immediately the adult was like, hey, can I help you? So, you know, we do a good job at that, managing that.
In number,
Yes.
in number 7, you can change it to any.
Number 7?
Oh, we sure did. We should have a patron. We didn't change it to any. Yes, we do that.
Change it to any. Change it
And there's
to
one
Yes.
up there, it's on number 3.
Number 3 too.
Can I just suggest one, this is just what you're reading. On that number 5, okay, I'm fine with the first sentence, but could we have the second sentence read, according to Louisiana Revised Statute 1491-2, state registered sex offenders' access to some branches may be limited. So that they'll know, I mean, a lot of people don't know what LARS means, but under Louisiana state law, and then have that in parentheses. Under, after the word branch period, under Louisiana law, open parens, LARS 1491-2, close parens, state registered sex offenders' access to some branches may be limited. Because somebody would look at LARS and be like, what is that?
Works for me. Any other discussion on this? Okay, we have a motion to approve it with the changes made. It was moved and seconded to approve this draft policy with the changes that we discussed. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? No opposed. Passes. Okay, next is the proposed parking policy. Let's pronounce it again.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? I was reading this when I got back. Is there a requirement that libraries be active practice, is that just something that?
Girl,
No,
it's the same
it's just
thing.
something that we do
Okay,
to help.
okay. I was just curious.
Your tax dollars at work.
She asked if it's required.
Like, is there a statute that says that
We have
public
to-
libraries have to act as proctors? I didn't know. Okay.
Anyway, this policy is being proposed because many of our branches, many of the branch staff members proctor exams for students, but they are not all proctoring them in the same manner. And so we would like for them to all be following the same procedures and rules. So that's why this is being proposed. And we tried to keep it simple.
What about those
This one.
small libraries? With 2 or 3 staff members or 2? And you got 2 or 3 coming in with different tasks. What would you do?
I'm not sure if it is a big demand
We've
in
never had
part-time
one.
branches.
You never had one, so not a
Full-time. I think
And
so.
just full-time, okay.
I would move that we accept the policy.
Before we second it, look at the first word. Is that any? Read that first part of that.
Just let me get it, you know.
Yes, I mean, the part-time branches can proctor if they're asked, but I don't think it's a big demand in that area of the parish.
So they may.
We can change it.
Okay, the move that we approve this policy, is the second one.
I think Josephine would like us to
Josephine.
change will to may.
Will to May.
Should be made instead of will then, you know.
Okay.
Can I rescind my motion then and make a new?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Did you want to make a new one?
Oh, not yet,
Okay.
because I think we still have some discussion, right? Okay,
Do we?
do,
I thought we had a motion in the second.
oh, we have a second?
No, okay.
I thought about it.
You did it?
Okay.
Okay.
The motion will fail, can the motion just fail for lack of a second?
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I won't take it personally, y'all.
I just personally, I think that, I like the policy and procedure. I just think that maybe we need to look at it again for things like what we just corrected in that first sentence,
Okay.
to just kind of tweak it just a little, because even looking, yeah, I just see a couple of other things that might.
I would look at to see that it's not stated as if it is a requirement.
No, it's not that, it's just, for example, in the second sentence, exams will be administered during the library's hours of operation. Since hours vary, advance arrangements are required, semicolon. I wouldn't put a semicolon there, I would punctuate it differently, just for things like that. Does anybody else see what I said?
What would you suggest?
No, I'm just saying there are a few, I don't want to edit the paper. I don't want to go through it and edit it, because I didn't edit it. I just noticed that there was some changes that needed to be made. In my opinion, and others might be different, and I'm not even sure about user IDs, where it says user IDs on the 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th paragraph, prior to the test, staff will keep all associated documents, printing tests, user IDs. You know, is that how we would write IDs? I just want us to make sure that,
So would you like for the committee to look at it, make the necessary changes,
Yeah,
and bring it back to the board?
okay, I don't think that we really need to do that. I just think that we need to accept it and just make sure that there are no types of errors in it, if that's okay. no types of punctuation errors and that kind of thing, capitalization.
I'd like to know what kind of test exams were given.
They have, I mean, it depends. If the students are in school by way of distance education, or they're taking an online class, just say they're taking a math class. And when it's time for them to take a math class for that month, they come into the library and the library staff basically oversees.
I just can't see a test being given and the instructor's not there or giving some kind of.
It happens all the time.
It happened, I wonder.
That's a German or college.
Yeah, college level.
Excuse me, may I say something regarding that issue? We have proctored tests here at this location before. Usually if it's an online class, the person proctoring will have to enter their information, and they'll have to ever so often go in and initialize that particular section that student is taking. For some of them, not for everything. And that's how they keep a track of, the progress of the testing. And, we do it here quite often. So I just wanted to mention that.
I'm glad you said that, because I can't see that a high school entered a course test. It's not, those kids that didn't graduate, there's some of them come, maybe they're not doing that, because they be trying to, you don't take those, you don't take, okay, that's what I got.
It's primarily college
student, yeah.
Kevin?
And sometimes a company will call, and I've talked to them myself before in the years past, and say, I need to send you a test for such and such who's going to come in, and make a reservation, the meeting room. And they send the test, like they send it to me, and I'm sure they do the other branches. And then when that person came, I would then give them the test and watch them take the test to make sure that they didn't have their cell phone or whatever in with them.
So
And then I would take the
them.
test, and I would take the test and mail it back to the people.
Oh, okay.
I had to have a test proctored in grad school, an online test to make sure I didn't have no open book stuff, just,
Okay.
So we want just to let proofread it and make sure it says exactly what you want to present to the next board meeting. Everybody okay with that, Shannon?
Because I know y'all trying to get this policy done.
That wasn't
If
mine.
there's specific things that we can take care of today and approve this policy, I say we go ahead and do that. If it's something that is going to affect how the policy is carried out, I think we should look at it. If it's, I just think we need to, this is my second board meeting ever for Sherman Memorial Library. But I guess it's just my personal from being in organizations. If we can take care of the business, let's take care of the business, because y'all are waiting on this. Staff is waiting on this probably. So I would rather go and address any issues now, except and carry this on the next month, because I know we got a lot to do in the next month with getting our director. So I don't want a policy hanging over us when it's something we could take care of now, so. My opinion.
Well,
It wasn't my idea to hold up the policy, to put the approval of the policy. We want to sit through here and go through this and make corrections, putting hyphens where hyphens need to be put and all that, which, that's what I'm looking at. Then, or if we want to just let it roll on through without the necessary corrections, then do that, whichever.
I'll let the board, so.
Or we can approve it with the, knowing that the corrections will be made.
I'm uncomfortable voting to approve a motion like that. Are there specific things that you think need to be changed that are, what would you change?
Okay. First of all, I don't feel comfortable sitting in a board meeting correcting people's writing. But since, we're kind of insisting on my doing that, then in the second, paragraph, that second sentence, does nobody else see anything wrong with that sentence but me?
Second paragraph.
The one that begins with "since hours vary."
You're in the second paragraph?
Second paragraph?
Exams will be administered during the library's hours of operation, since hours vary, and that arrangements are required. we need if we're gonna do that, we need to just put a period there or a therefore, comma, please, but not a semicolon. The next one that I see is in the next paragraph where we have photo ID, ID is capitalized, and then down in another paragraph we have ID and it's in small letters. Does anybody else see that? So those are the kind of things we're talking about. I'm not trying to hold up the policy, I'm voting for the policy, but, you know, I just don't feel comfortable going through this in this meeting because there are some other things.
Okay, Dolores, what I'm saying that if we approve of the policy, but as far as the writing and the word used, can you and Deontay meet together? We're just going to vote, and we know that you're going to be on top of it, and Deontay going to be, that we know, as far as what's say, the policy, we'll go along with it. You see what I'm saying? But as far as the way you say it needs to be written with the...
Yeah, I'll finish going through it if you want me to.
No, I'm saying, cause y'all, to me, that, I mean, we're going over, I mean, like you say, you corrected something, but I think you and Deontay need to get together, so you just correcting the writing and the mistake, but as far as the whole policy,
The policy is,
I'm saying that maybe they can get together to do it. Then let's go through all this at the meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like why you say, in a period, you know.
yeah, because you don't want to just have something out there in the policy.
Did y'all get together?
Okay. Well, we have at least one person who doesn't feel comfortable voting for this, so I think that we need to have one board member. So while we're discussing this, let's just run through it, if y'all don't mind. Okay, so photo ID, just let's be consistent. I period D, capital I period D, I guess. And for all property agreements will completed and signed by the branch manager, we might as well just spell assistant branch manager.
Wait, where are you?
I'm in 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth paragraph. Where you see the first line, it says will be signed, completed and signed by the branch manager, comma, assistant branch manager, and or department head.
Okay, what's the?
But I just suggested that we spell assistant. Okay. And then that 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one, user IDs, passwords, etc., comma, in a folder labeled with the student's name or the educational institution's name. A folder will be kept in a place that is accessible once exam is completed. The library will not retain copies of the exam document. Okay, according to the guidelines in the Robert Proctor exam, students free of charge, regardless of whether the exam is on paper or online. The library will not provide envelopes. In that sentence, same thing here. The library will not provide envelopes or postage to return materials to the testing institution. Here you might put a period, and however, it can be changed, improved in different ways, but one way is with the period and however. Must include a postage paid, hyphenate postage paid, hyphenate that, hyphen after postage. And going quickly. That might be it. Except ID, going to be consistent with our ID.
You see where it's lowercase letters again.
Are you just gonna put ID like that, or do you
Oh, you
put
mean,
ID
put the
period?
period, okay.
I think that was, I'll just double check again. ID. Okay, that's all I see. Thank you. I move that we accept the, no, that was your motion. Sorry. That was
It
your,
failed, like you said.
did you want to do anything? Okay. I move that we accept the exam, the Sri Memorial Library exam proctoring policy and procedure with the corrections.
I'll second.
Okay, move to second, we accept this proctoring policy with the correction that's made. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And next are the director's updates. Directors.
Okay, the first item is circulation reports. Jenny, Lynn Slater, Kathy, Jim, and I met to discuss the circulation statistics. Except for the past few years, the board received a monthly report of the statistics. Lynn expressed her concerns and that doing these reports is very time consuming, so she was proposing that we consider sending them to the board on a quarterly basis or even an annual basis. And so basically, and Kathy emailed the state library to get some input from them, and we have that information here. But basically what we need to know is, do you all want to continue to receive the statistics monthly, or would you, or could we send them quarterly or annually? And Jenny and Kathy, you may want to, or Jim, you may want to add something.
And I'll just add that if the board had a certain need to see something, you could request it, and we could get, a monthly statistics or something if there was a need for it. But rather than putting overtime every single month, if we could do it on a less frequent basis, it would be a less time consuming for that individual that has to do so.
So what do you have a question? What do you think about quarterly? Do you have a suggestion? How often?
What was your question?
I would ask if the staff had a suggestion as to how often, because we don't have to have it every month. I don't think we have to have it every month, but quarterly might be good.
Did Lynn offer a suggestion? Lynn wanted to do it.
I'm gonna be difficult again. I'm sorry, because this is my job today. I don't necessarily need to see these every month, but I would like to just take a look and see what's going on before each of our board meetings, so that we can kind of know what's going on. Maybe, I have to do these every month for my own library. Isn't there something in the ILS that will let you pull this up? And because my little school library, Destiny, lets me pull up. Yeah, I'm sure, but they don't have something that will let you do.
It's my understanding it's not very straightforward. There's a lot of cutting and pasting and pulling from, and cutting may speak to that.
The report that prints out is very long and very mixed up, and that we take it and put it into a format that's easy to read. That's what is time consuming, to put it into this format.
Is it possible to put it on the director's page on the website? That's the other record we can pull up?
On the board's website? Okay.
I think the raw report probably wouldn't be very useful to you. It's still going to require
Still under.
that staff member to put it into a real format for you.
Okay, one at a time, folks, Judge Baxter.
I would like to suggest that board members see this annually, but have the information available for us in the case we need it. As in the example with the circulation report for Gillum in reference to that survey. We are not going to be looking at this. We know that. We don't need to look at it unless there is a need. So that's just extra work for somebody.
So you say in our files, keep a monthly, but submit?
In your reports, but not for us. I mean, if we see this yearly and have access to it when we need it, when and if we need it, I think that would be sufficient.
Need a motion to that effect?
Well, I do read it. I do read it. I'm not gonna say I read everything in it all the time, but I especially like to compare circulations and see how they decrease, or, you know, if they're steadily growing or decreasing or what have you. I don't necessarily have to see that every month, but I'd like to see it more than once a year.
Okay, Shannon?
How difficult is it, like, we don't necessarily need to know the individual categories. How difficult is it to pull and maybe, because this, because these numbers mean nothing to me, just the total. I have no idea. But could we do like,
There's a totals page on the back. Maybe it can do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could do just this total state structure without doing the rest of the report. This is all one
That's right, that is
structure.
an annual thing.
Well, it's also a monthly.
so monthly, you couldn't just pull up to you the totals for each branch? You would still have to go through the massage and the data?
I do not know. I can find it out.
Yeah, I don't think you can, okay, now, putting it all in the report.
It's not good software, you know.
Yeah, we need some better software. We need to have that better software.
The software works fine, it takes time to enter all that data.
I guess what I would be interested in, I will go with the majority of this, but I would like to know what is the annual, like, for example, I would imagine it would be like 2014, what was it, like this month, like, okay, let me say this better. For example, if you had a report that came out quarterly, show me what the circulation was this quarter total. I need to know how many books, magazines, DVDs, all that. Show me what the total circulation is for the quarter, but also show me what the total circulation was for this same time period last year. So that way I know if circulation is up, is circulation down, are there months, you know, when...
Well, it is in the annual report that you have to do each month. So we have those figures for each month to do the annual.
Which we do have the figures in raw format. It's just formatting it into what would be usable for the average person is what's.
Well, I guess, is it easy to pull just totals for each branch, or you still have to go through the whole lot?
I do not know.
Okay, all right.
The thing that prints out will have the totals for each branch.
Okay, because it doesn't matter to me what, I mean, this is just me personally. I don't care about books, whatever, I don't know what book J, book A, I don't know what that means. Oh, adult, juvenile. I don't necessarily care about the individual categories. I would just maybe like to see a broad view, if that's possible.
A broad view for each board member, board meeting?
Well,
Can we perhaps take a look at the actual printout you get before it's, you know, cut up and massaged and see if that's useful?
And perhaps it'd be helpful at the next board meeting, we could have Lynn Schlater here. She's the one who actually produces the report. She'd be the best one to answer all these questions that you've got.
I don't want to put any undue burden on staff, but I think circulations tell a lot about in terms of, and I'm new and I'm learning, y'all have been here, but it's information for me to kind of see what's going on at Branch. The circulation does tell a lot of the story.
Tom?
I concur with what Shannon is saying. I'd just like to point out that, I don't know if anybody else is in this category, but I'm not as familiar with library science and the inner workings of libraries as some of you are. And personally, I would like to see the reports on a quarterly basis because it's teaching me a lot about what I need to know to be effective, hopefully, as a board trustee member. And so looking at this, whether it's books or whether it's audio and large print versus small print, at least it's given me some basis for making some decision as to how the libraries operate. I know many of you are familiar with those inner workings. I do agree it would be nice if you saw the circulation one year as opposed to the previous year. That would be nice. But I would like to see them at a minimum on a semi-annual basis, at a minimum.
Well, we defer action on this until the next meeting, if Lynn can come. And also bring, I like to see the raw printout that you get, see how useful that may or may not be. Because you may not know what you're looking for.
I like that. I always like that.
Well,
Works for me.
okay, we'll do the collection agency. Council, you do.
I don't know if you remember late last summer, we had a presentation by Unique Management, which was a collection agency that's geared specifically to libraries. Unfortunately, we've been a little bit delayed for a number of different reasons. Our financial services was the one that was tasked with working to set this up, and the city went to that new system, so they've been inundated trying to get us paying our bills. But this is where we are at this moment. Our CFO has coordinated our legal department at the city with the Unique Management's legal department, and they've worked out an agreement. Both parties have signed the document. Additionally, in late April, Lynn Schlater, who's our Access Services area manager, who works with Cersei Dynex, she's been conversing with them because we have to get a specific circulation agency module that Cersei Dynex puts out. And I don't know if those of you who were here remember, they gave us some information that said we could get this module at no cost. Well, it's looking like that's not really the case. They gave us a quote.
Cersei Dynex has something you have to pay for? What?
They're telling us, what she says here, it's a quote of $9,370 for the first year, including $1,500 for installation. According to Cersei Dynex, the $1,500 is non-refundable, even if we elect not to move forward with Unique Management. We were going to have a 90-day trial period, and then at the end of the 90 days, the board was going to meet and decide whether or not to pursue. Well, they're only giving us 90 days to do a trial and make a decision, and if not, we would be on the hook for the full year, which is $9,300. So Lynn Schlater has currently got our vendor trying to work with Cersei Dynex to see if they would expand that to a longer time period. So we wouldn't go in and pay all this money, find out it doesn't work, and yet we're stuck with it for a year. So that's basically where we are right now. We do have an agreement signed. We're just trying to negotiate a time period that wouldn't end up costing the library a lot of money.
For y'all who weren't here last year, part of the deal I gave this company was that there was outstanding fines and stuff that need to be collected. And this agency specializes in library collections. And they take the kinder and gentler approach. Rather than keeping on the door and saying, we'll throw you to jail. They do less invasive things. And that's what they do, is apparently this library stuff. And I wanted this on the agenda because at that time, we were going to get this 90-day trial period, and I'd not heard what happened to that, so I wanted to see what's going on with it. So, anyway. So I'll be, want to come up again at a later date.
So where do we stand right now?
We We are currently trying to negotiate with Cersei Dynex and Unique Management to see if we can get a longer, if they would allow more than 90 days, Cersei Dynex would, without charging us.
So, but we're stuck with them because we signed a contract?
We haven't proceeded yet, no.
Okay.
They've got an agreement between our legal department and theirs that everybody agrees on in order to be able to sign and proceed. But now we need to negotiate the time period before we move forward.
Contract is reconciled, yeah.
And they would just collect funds,
Well, they really try to get our materials back. And so their approach, from what I recall, is more trying to urge people to return our materials, and if not, then to pay the fines. There's a certain, they wouldn't go after fines unless it reached a certain amount. There's additional money that would be added to that person's account that would help cover the cost of this. So there's a lot of different things.
do they get a percentage of
That's
the
what I was
collect?
about to say. They get a percentage of the fines we collect, right?
I think so.
And that's what that additional fee that would be charged to the person's account would cover.
Do you know the percentage?
I want to say it was a flat amount per, if it was collected, it was going to be like $8 or something like that, because that was
That's what I
what was
remember.
going to be added.
Flat amount per case.
Yeah, per case of what they actually recovered. A lot of libraries in the country use this. We've heard from other libraries that they've been very pleased with the service, and it's resulted in getting a lot of materials back that we haven't been able to get back in the past. The one little wrinkle with this, and I don't know if you want to talk to it, but y'all had authorized that we would do amnesty twice a year, where we basically waive fines in return for food. We would not be able to do amnesty during this trial period at a minimum, because that would obviously affect the results of how successful it would be.
Now, once the person pays the fine, can they still check out books? Like if they are sent out, I guess, a dunning letter, and they say, oh my goodness, I wasn't going to pay my money, so they paid it. Do they get their privileges back to, okay. Send the person who just paid some library fines.
Okay, any questions about that?
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say that I never was fully convinced about this, but I hope it works. You know, we decided to embark on it. I hope that it really helped the
Well, that's
board.
the one trial period.
And just as a reminder, when the city did that audit, this was one of the things that came back in the audit report from the city auditor, was that we needed to be more aggressive in pursuing collectibles than what we were doing. So we're trying to do this in response to that audit.
Okay, next item on the agenda is land deposit in Hamilton, South Carolina. I think I'm correct that we've not disposed of that yet. The history of this is a year or more ago, the Circle K on the corner of, was it Barcoons and, what's the side street?
Is it there?
Right in front of the library. They wanted to buy some land next to the Circle K to expand their operation. You know, I think 50 feet down Barcoons and down around, kind of around that Circle K. It would block part of the view from the street to the library and vice versa. And we thought that we would just see what they wanted to pay, you know, how much money they're going to give us. And that's gone on now for, I think, over a year, maybe close to a year and a half, and we really basically haven't gotten a firm offer from them. So I kind of like for the board to make a decision on whether we want to pursue this or not pursue it. If we not pursue it, we'll tell them too bad we're not interested. Any thoughts?
They haven't made an offer at all?
No, the representative from the realty company has been calling, trying to find out how we plan to proceed. So,
But he hasn't called since.
but he hasn't called back since last fall. I don't know if he was.
They sent a contract, proposed contract, though. I think they did make an offer. then there was problems with the contract, and that's where it stopped?
Well, I
There
think
were,
that's-
and he was calling, I got some calls from him last September.
He called me too,
And,
Susan too.
So as I recall, basically whatever they proposed, the city attorney said it wasn't, they had to rewrite it totally or something, or our attorney did.
there were some problems with the contract, a number of different problems, and then the whole idea was the money, if we were to do this, we'd use the money to get an electronic sign, but it's my understanding the amount of money we would have gotten wouldn't have come close to covering the cost of an electronic sign.
I personally think we should do so. I've always.
Can I just speak for a moment? One of the reasons why the original contract they sent to us could not be accepted, because this is in essence Library City property. It would have to be opened up for anyone else to make a bid on the property. And that was one of the biggest problems with the fact that the company that wanted to buy it did not want that access, want to have access for someone else to bid on it and so forth, and made the statement at that point, is my understanding, that they weren't interested if it was going to have to go out for open bid on that with other people. But being a city property or a library property, it could not be just sold to the first person that just, Jim, can you speak to that on that?
No, it can't be sold except through a competitive open process.
And that was one of the real problems with the whole procedure on that.
Okay, so the bottom line on this has been going on for a year and a half or so. I'd like for the board to vote to say that we're not going to do this, and to notify Circle K that we're not going to do it. Need everybody's approval?
The motion.
Need a motion?
Well,
Second.
third.
Wait a minute, I missed that.
Who made the motion?
Shannon.
Moved and seconded,
Seconded, I third.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next item on the agenda is the capital project update. David Darnell.
For those of you who have seen, or maybe have not seen, the property that we're doing for the Support Services Center, I went ahead and brought this. You're welcome to look at it after the meeting. The front side is just a picture of the land with the building laying on it, with a picture of what it will look like. Of course, if you drive by now, you can begin to tell what it's going to look like, because finally, we're beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel. And there's been a lot of delays for lots of reasons. Well, some of the last delays have been basically because of weather. For example, in the month of April, there were 21 days of rain. We had to allot them 14 days of rain. They agreed to give up 7 of those days. We haven't even received the May report yet. But we're getting close enough to the outside work on the EFS on the side of the building being done, that now the rain will not be quite as much of a deterrent as it has been in the past. Also, the parking lot work, because if you drive by, you will see there's big segments that have been taken out of the huge original parking lot that was there. Those are going to be green islands with plants, also with lights and so forth added to that. The main thing that I would ask is, if you drive by and you think, okay, I'll just pull in the parking lot and drive up close to the building, be very, very careful if you happen to do that, because the parking lot is still treacherous. Number one, you could ruin some tires with nails. Number two, in some of those entrenched places, some of the things that, with all the rains we've had, they fill with water, and it looks like there's concrete there. And there's not any concrete. There's just a big open hole. So you really do need to be very careful if you do pull into that. We will very soon be at a place where we can start to tour you through, and you can see the inside of the building. We're really excited about how it's turning out on the inside. It's going to be gorgeous. You're going to love it. And now that it's all coming together, it's an exciting project. One of the things that when you get into the building, you'll say, what a maze. Where is everything? But if you learn the pattern of there's two major hallways going down each side and a major hallway going across the back, it begins to click and you begin to understand it. The building originally, as you know, was a Food Lion building. So the architect's desire was for it not to look like a grocery store. Then Verizon Call Center was there, which had like 260 little booths where people sat and were on the phone for all day. And all of those, of course, are gone. The building has been turned into a large conference room that you guys will be utilizing that is set up for the board. And also there are other training rooms and small conference rooms and offices for the staff. The electronic sorter will come in and it has about 22 to 23 bins to it so that all the books when they come in will sort automatically to the location where they're going to be going, and it will save us some time and it will speed up some of the services that we can give to the public because things can get there more quickly. But right now, the tentative status of the building is they should be through with their punch list if we have no more major weather things and the Red River doesn't rise again. We should be through with the major punch list and the cleanup, and we receive the keys. Then our computer people will go in and terminate all the computer lines and get it ready for all the furniture and the computers and the desks and so forth to be moved in. So, like I said, it's finally nice to begin to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Some of you say, why did this take so long? There were many issues. We ran into mold in the old building, and so we just came to a dead stop until that could be alleviated and taken care of. And then we ran into, as you do with the building you're renovating, many times you run into things you didn't know were there, like hidden gas lines, water tanks that were buried up in the building, and so forth. So there was a lot of different issues that had to be taken care of, but we are excited and we think you're really going to like it and be excited. And what I passed to you is just kind of the status that we do for our staff on our website now, but the back 2 or 3 pages of pictures are pictures I just received today of some of the final things that they're doing, especially a lot of the mill work that's going in and so forth. But I'll be happy to answer any questions for you, either now or later. But just know it really is coming, it really is going to happen, and your dollars are working.
So when we go to LLA next year, we can tell that really they don't have the prettiest library and say we do.
Well, we have the prettiest support services center. One of the things that you may be approached to you by phone, because it has already been approached to a lot of us. I've even had neighbors in my building that I live downtown in the United Jewelers building. Oh, you're building that new library out on Burt Coons. Is it going to have a huge children's section? No, it has no children's section. But and then we explain that it's a center where we do the processing so that these wonderful children's centers can exist out in the different branches. It's where we do the processing so the teen centers can exist out in the different branches. But some of the people, I know several of our staff people from their churches have said to them, when are you going to finish that new library? I want to come see the new library. Well, it's not really a new library. It's a new library building. So anyway, if questions come up like that, feel free to explain to them. It's just a better way to be able to serve you, to get the things to you more quickly and in a better manner. Okay?
Just out of curiosity, what's the outside identifying sign that's going to be placed up?
There will be, if you have been to West Shreveport and have seen the digital sign that is at West Shreveport, there will be an identical one, or very similar to it, out on Burt Coons, right at the main gate. Okay? The say library, Shreve Memorial Library Support Services Center, which is what the project was officially named by the board when we started the project. We first called it Administrative Center for a while, and that term kind of wore on for a little while, but it really wasn't an administrative center. It's really a support services center because it's all of us on the 4th floor that are moving there. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Good,
you.
thank you very much. Hey, no July is next month. Okay, next item on the agenda is the retention schedule. Sure, glad I don't have to explain.
We sent you a copy of what we will be sending to the state as our proposed retention schedule. Y'all had asked to see it before we send it off. They gave us a proposed one, and we have made some changes based on our business needs, but this basically tells us how long we will retain all these various record series. There's records that relate to the board, just general kind of correspondence, risk management records, patron information, all of our E-rate and grant files. There's a lot in as it relates to human resources and payroll, workers' comp, grievances, and then there's several couple of pages as relates to finance.
You got to look at page 5, item 34. Retention schedule of that employee's earnings record is 70 years. 70 years. Good grief. Who knew?
We specifically asked the state about that, and it's related to some recent legislation, federal legislation as relates to pay discrimination lawsuits, where you could potentially have to go back 70 years and provide all the information. So just for this, every employee, every time you change the rate of pay or change your status, there's a personnel action form you fill out in HR that gets sent to the city to make those changes. So even though we can get rid of personnel files 5 years after an employee leaves the organization, that portion of the personnel file will have to be pulled and then retained for 70 years. We've asked about being able to digitize that, and the state does not accept digitization as an acceptable format. We have been told that we can microfilm and keep the microfilm. Otherwise, we've got to keep the paper documents.
We don't have a microfilm.
No, we don't. We would have to. Yeah. We have a scanner. We could digitize all of them, but they won't accept it. So do you have any questions about it? Well, we will be sending that off then to the Records Management Division to see if they'll accept what we've got proposed.
Motion, please. I think you need a motion to approve it.
Okay. We need a motion to approve this retention schedule.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the board has seconded that we approve the retention schedule as presented to us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We just approved the retention schedule. Okay, the next item is miscellaneous.
I got a call this morning from Heather McEntee, who's the library director for Bossier Parish, trying to see if we wanted to partner with them and offer out some kind of assistance to people in the area affected by the flooding. And we did ask Ivy to do a little research. Were you able to find out some things we could do?
Basically, what the Red Cross is asking people to do is they're asking people to donate that $10 for vouchers where people who are affected by the flood can get vouchers to buy food and items like Pampers for, or should I say diapers for babies, and just basic needs. And also the Salvation Army is asking for food donations, and they're also asking for cash donations. Basically, how we can play a part in this, we can advertise it. Bossier has it advertised on their website. We can follow suit and do the same thing, and also have these links on our website to the Salvation Army and to the Red Cross. Once we get everything set up, I'll send out a news release and hopefully get a little press on that to make sure that everybody can, especially our customers, can go to our website and help victims of the flood.
Sounds good.
I think we're also going to advertise that we do have computers and free Wi-Fi at all of our locations, so that if somebody's displaced and needed to get on the computer, they can definitely come in.
Laura's you first.
I wanted to ask Ivy. Ivy, did you get this information from regarding the Salvation Army and Red Cross and specific items that they're asking for, as well as volunteer needs that they have for volunteers?
Okay, I know both is asking the partnership, but we have a lot devastation in Shreveport.
Right, exactly.
I mean, a lot. We got more homes, I think, in the area of the,
Right.
So I want to make sure that we make it a partnership where they can also, so we both benefit each other, Twin Cities.
Exactly. As public institutions, we thought that it was befitting for the library to offer assistance to our customers as well, and to show that not only Shreveport, but Bossier is in on it as well as a public institution.
Bossier is already, they're using one of their new library facility as a sandbagging, where you can pick up sandbags.
I was going to say, also, I know the LSU and Southern, and I was wondering, when you said computers, and you also, if you have children and things like that, I wonder if it's possible that I don't know how many, have y'all checked the shelters to see if we can donate extra computers and things that the kids can do, since it's going to be a while. That's a good idea. Check and see what they need it for.
Maybe some of our children's librarians could go to the shelters
And read and stuff like that, but they want, I don't know how many, but right now, I don't know. Yeah, but I know they said the two shelters, I don't know that.
Yeah, we had children's librarians during the hurricanes of New Orleans back in 2005. Even I myself went and read to the children, so that's a possibility as well.
Okay, we need a motion to approve that? Yes.
Second.
Okay, the moved and seconded that we partner with Bossier and suggest, do the things that I have suggested to kind of show the community that we're doing everything we can to help. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Thank you. Okay, the final item on the agenda is a proposed meeting date for the regular meeting.
May I ask the question
Ask.
before you do that? I know that we've got all of our meetings scheduled. Is there like any kind of quick update you put on the director search?
I guess the best quick update is that we're meeting, Search Committee's meeting Wednesday and Thursday to do Skype interviews with semi-finalists. Yes?
We just wanted to add something under miscellaneous in regards to the vacancies. Just to update with Jennifer French, who was the branch manager of North Shreveport, has been promoted to the assistant branch manager and the information services supervisor at Broadmoor. So we now need a branch manager at the North Shreveport branch, as well as Atkins, City Road, North Caddo. And we have selected someone to manage the main branch, the main library, I'm sorry. Her name is Shelley Masog, and she comes to us from the New Orleans Public Library System, where she was the branch manager of the main library in New Orleans. And Shelley will be joining us
Next Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. Back to the interviews. We're doing 8 or 9 Skype interviews. I can't remember 8 or 9. Wednesday and Thursday, and then once semi-finalists are selected, then we'll be able to open up the public and have the public input and all that. And you all are welcome now to attend these committee meetings. So if you want to sit in on the interviews, or to observe the interviews, I should say, you're certainly welcome to do it.
And there is another meeting next week, a week from today.
And a week from today is the special board meeting.
Yeah, but we still have to.
So things are starting to roll now, hopefully in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have a director. At least have one name.
It's still the 10th and 11th this week.
Yeah, we still do that, yeah, with that, and
The voting is-
June 10th.
Board meeting on the 15th.
No,
No,
On 15.
Not a board meeting.
he's talking about special committee.
A special call for the 15th. Yes.
At 3.
June 10th is this, 9:30. And then it needs to be down for
July 2nd
that.
and the 6th.
Yes.
Wait, our meeting on the 15th is at 9?
No, I'm talking about
No,
committee.
certainly. Okay, now, follow on the agenda is the proposed meeting date for the next regular meeting, Monday, July 27th at Atkins Branch and 4 p.m., I guess.
I'm probably on vacation, yeah, I know that.
But that's our regular time to meet though, right?
Yeah, that's next
Our
meeting.
regular meeting.
Yeah, it's regular meeting.
So that's the meeting date, the main thing is where it's going to be. I mean, that's what we're really voting on, we're not voting on the date, right?
Well, we are, because we always change the date.
Okay.
So July 27th at Atkins at 4 p.m. All in favor of that?
I can't be here either.
Well, it's true, we can't be here, but we should change it.
You know how long? You're talking about June 15th? Oh, okay, let me check that out.
You want to look at the first Monday in August?
I can't.
I don't push it.
Oh, yeah, first.
Okay, you said July
Okay,
22nd.
what's that date?
27.
7th of August,
It would be the 3rd,
3rd of August?
that's the first Monday in
And everybody meet on July 27th? You think you can come?
What about the 10th, August 10th, is that?
August 15th.
so much, so close to
We can, but.
You may not know this, but in September, the first couple of weeks of September, we will be having a personnel committee meeting to talk about the proposed personnel budget, and there'll be a finance committee meeting to look at the budget. And then our September board meeting at the end of September is when we approve the budget for 2016. So there will be a number of meetings in September.
Could we move it up before the 27th? Because I mean, we're going to have a board meeting on the 6th, I guess, select the director, but, I mean, could we, I don't want to be too far into August without at least having the first meeting without the director or without, just kind of dragging on time.
Can I go on again?
The new director may not be starting until sometime in August. Keep that in mind, especially if they're relocating from another part, a month or two delay may be there.
So,
Well, like Ms. Bell said, the 20th, can we do the 20th?
About the 20th?
12th of July?
That's 2 weeks after the meeting of the 6th, you want to have one that close?
We need to, but we never had nothing in July.
well, I won't be there, but y'all.
We are, we're meeting July 2nd, we're meeting this on July 2nd and the 6th.
But that's just for that special agenda to take
That's a
care of.
special thing to pick.
That's not a regular board meeting, that's just the only thing on the
Yeah.
agenda is probably going to be the
We pick,
search, right?
That's when you pick
The
the,
second is
when you
all
decide.
day, the interviews,
Yeah.
and then,
6th.
and keep in mind also on the Wednesday, the 1st is the public forum that evening. I don't know if y'all plan on coming to
Oh,
that.
yeah. At Huntington, right?
Yeah.
What day is that?
That's on the
That's
1st.
on July
What day
1st.
is we're proposing now?
So, did you say that you can't come
20th, I
home?
think.
Wait,
What is it?
You can't come
July
home? Sunday?
20th?
I'll probably, I mean, yeah, no, I didn't say that. How many can
Can you come on, you come to those two special meetings, Mike?
Yeah, I got those.
Yeah, the first and the
So
second.
who can't come on our Sunday?
I can't, exactly.
How many can make it on the 3rd?
That's a Friday. You talking about July for June?
August 3rd. August 3rd.
That's a
Is
Monday.
there anyone who cannot make it, rather?
I think it'd be better to push it back into August.
I
There's so much
can.
going on in June, July, so many meetings.
Okay, August 3rd,
August 3rd, I'm fine with that.
I'm good with
But
that.
we'll do it for the regular meeting?
Regular meeting,
Okay.
August 3rd, in Atkins, at 4 p.m.,
The regular meeting,
regular meeting. Everybody okay with that?
everybody can make it.
Okay.
So we mark off the 27th, March 27th out.
At 4? Well,
4.
4.
Let's take the 4.
Which I know right on the morning.
Location to be determined?
Atkins.
Didn't, Lord, did you move?
Yes,
Where'd you move?
I move that we have it at Atkins on whatever date we decide, which is
Is
now August 3rd.
August 3rd, 4 p.m. Okay, second for that? Is there a second?
Second.
I did.
Oh, okay. We'll go to second, that we have the next regular meeting on August 3rd at Atkins at 4 p.m. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We have a motion to adjourn.
May I say something?
I had already scheduled a meeting at Atkins on that earlier date, that 27th, so it's going to be subject to availability.
So, in the Atkins.
That's
Okay, just remember, if maybe somebody signs the Atkins. Not-
I'd like to know this is okay. I mean, since we coming downtown Wednesday and Thursday, we have to be there for 9 o'clock. Is the parking all the way downtown with all this, flooding down, will be okay?
Yes.
We can't, it's
It's
another,
just right along the riverfront.
so it's not messing with our park when we have to park and stuff? Okay. Good one.
Good question, they took that.
You won't be able to come in, I can't, you'll have to come, like, but you come from the west.
I come from the west anyway. Okay.
Okay, we'll adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Everybody say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, it's a good meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Got a lot